If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Happy Friday to you. My name is Ken Matthews, back in the Stone Zone. Yes, I snuck back into the Stone Zone, and I'm guest hosting for Roger Stone tonight. I was listening to that introduction. You know, all those presidents relied on Roger Stone, and Ken Matthews' wife is waiting for him to fix the faucet in the guest bathroom. So I can sort of understand the pressure that Roger was under, answering to different presidents and being in the political matrix, if you will. And a part of history, I'll have to say, because the man has written some great books, but can he fix the plumbing in the guest bathroom? Anyway, it is great to be here on the Red Apple Audio Networks. Once again, what a lovely week it's been. A week of action and activity, propaganda, misinformation, all the things that make our great republic challenging. But let's start with a little comedy, if you will, because I enjoy comedy. And this has got to be one of the funniest women. I mean, when you look at comedians and people that make you laugh, I got to tell you, Kamala's right up there.
Well, some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate ever to run for president.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me play that again. I didn't think we'd start off with such a strong laugh, but this is a good one.
Well, some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate ever to run for president.
Oh my goodness! This, the thing that's so impressive about liberal delusion is the confidence they attach to arrogance. It is amazing to me that she says that with a straight face. That's like when Joe Biden said, "I'm as fit as a fiddle," and then walked into the bushes because he couldn't find his way to the restroom. Anyway, here's the number, 800-848-9222. A lot of talk about what I think this is a major development, and there's plenty out there. I think this is the third criminal, in my opinion only, alleged criminal. Got to do all that lawyer talk, John Bolton, the third alleged Trump hater and criminal indicted by a federal grand jury in Maryland this week. So that was kind of a treat. Actually, it's kind of a start. And here's what's really interesting. As much as the folks on MSNBC hold on a second. Are they still on the air? MSNBC is still, okay. Because I know they're letting some people go, which is terrible because, I really can't relate because I've only been fired 8 times. But, so they're still on the air then. Oh, wow. And they still have a news operation. That's incredible. Okay, so we're just going to roll that. If you can roll that soundbite. The guy knows that the stuff that Bolton has been indicted for is really bad stuff and it's legitimate. So as much as they're trying to pretend that Donald Trump is going on a revenge tour, he's picking on everybody. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's doing what Republicans and Democrats didn't have the guts to do over the last 10 years. And I'm with him on this one. I say we keep beating this drum until there's no more drum.
You're absolutely right. I think it's a lot different, actually. This is what my sources are telling me, than those other cases, which appear to be largely without merit. This one, though, arose in the Biden administration.
Hold on a second. Now, he has to say that. Okay, that's Ken Delanian, I believe. I do appreciate his first name. He's Justice and the intelligence correspondent. Now, you would think that, well, don't even get me started on the CIA. Maybe if we have time, we'll talk about that. Well, no, we will talk about it today, because the CIA is not my favorite group of people, especially now with Venezuela. And I don't see Ken talking about that on MSNBC. But he had to do the disclaimer, you see? He had to say, well, the Bolton indictment is not as meaningless as the other ones. No, the Comey indictment, these other indictments, and it's Tish. Who's the one with she has a 20-year-old niece on OnlyFans that's always like shaking her butt. And did you see that video? It's awesome. It's awesome. She's got to be part of the Hunter Biden club. There's always nudity. There's either drugs, nudity, firearms, nudity. Did I mention nudity? So anyway, let's get back to why Bolton's indictment is legit. And it's got to be sad for the folks on Morning Joe to be admitting that. But it is. It's looking really bad for Bolton. And if there's any time to shave off that mustache that looks like a paintbrush, or Colonel Sanders is out drinking, now is the time. I would shave that off before you get into court, and you'll be less recognizable.
And this is a very serious and detailed indictment. It says that John Bolton derived secrets from his time as National Security Advisor, assembled them because he was writing a book, sent them over unclassified email and messaging apps to his wife and daughter. We've identified the two people as his wife and daughter. And then that information was hacked by the government of Iran. At least one of those email accounts was hacked. And so the government of Iran obtained some of these state secrets, according to this indictment. And the indictment says that Bolton used language that made clear he knew he was talking about sensitive information, things like the intel briefer said, or when in the situation room I learned. And what seems to be the case is that they did not know the extent of what was in at least one of his email accounts until they discovered that they discovered the material that Iran had hacked.
Well, look at that. I love it. I love it. No, I don't like security breaches, but some of these guys, and Bolton's he's a Republican clown. I mean, there's clowns to the left and clowns to the right. We're stuck in the middle together. But, John Bolton, an elitist, neocon. Are we allowed to say war whore? Or do we have... Oh, we have to say warmonger. Okay, then I'm not going to say war whore. But I never liked him. And it's not... It doesn't have anything to do with the mustache. It has to do with he's one of those Republicans, and unfortunately there's too many in the fold right now who want to go to war in the Middle East and Venezuela, and they want to go to war in the Ukraine, and they're thinking, oh my God, can you imagine if we get into a war with Russia, how rich we're going to get? That's the vibe. That's the vibe I get from John Bolton. So they're always the people that say stuff like, I can't believe Donald Trump had stuff in Mar-a-Lago, in storage boxes and all that. And yet he had top secret, unsecured, open platform. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is, if you thought Hillary was ridiculous with her thing, I hope she's indicted next. I want them all indicted on what they did, because if you or I did what they did, we'd all be in jail now, like the Jan 6ers were for 2 and 3 years, some without a charge. So no, I can't let it go. I'd like to let it go. I'd like to say, oh, come on, give them a break. No. And I'll tell you something else. You put Joe Biden's butt in a chair, a comfortable one with wheels on it, and you wheel his butt into prison where he belongs. Already we're getting this thing about Joe Biden. Well, he's, my God, give him a break. His brain is gone. He has cancer. No, we do that all the time. We always make up excuses. We can never follow through with justice. That's the problem. Why is it so hard to get justice in this country on any level? Any level. Whether someone stole your car in Idaho or they broke into your house in Seattle, it's hard to get justice because at the very top, the people that have all the power that can make a phone call and get justice, they don't even do it. They let the John Boltons and the James Comeys and Brennans and that clown Christopher Wray, these people walk all over the American Republic. We need to awaken to this and take care of it.
Through a U.S. intelligence penetration of Iran. That's according to my reporting. And that's one of the reasons this case didn't go forward in the Biden administration.
Did you hear this? It didn't go forward in the Biden administration. It could have, but why would it? Why would anybody in power go after one of their own supporters? This is what we're facing in this country. We're facing it at every single level with every single crime, from illegal voting to pick a crime. There's not a crime that's done in this country that hasn't already been done or is being done by people in power. And the reason they don't get touched is because they have the power and they have the money.
It's because officials were concerned about revealing that penetration. The Trump administration has made a different calculation. They're okay with revealing it. They've revealed it now to the Iranians. So whatever penetration they had is now shut down. That's how badly they wanted to prosecute John Bolton.
All right, there it is. Did you see it? So the front and back end of that package, it started out with Trump's going after someone else that he didn't like. Okay, and that's bullcrap. And then he wraps it up with, look how bad President Trump wants to go after the former security advisor, John Bolton, just because he was using open source platforming and telling top secret stuff to people that weren't even in the government. They weren't even cleared. And then he got hacked by a real enemy of ours, and they didn't make a big deal out of it. So this is, there's a lot of legitimacy to this if MSNBC is actually covering it and talking about it realistically. Now, let me talk about the CIA. By the way, this is the Stone Zone, and I'm filling in for Roger Stone. My name is Ken Matthews, and the phone number is 800-848-9222, and we're on the Red Apple Audio Networks. Heard around the world, and thank you for that. Now, President Trump just gave the green light to CIA action against Venezuela, and I am not happy about it. This is official, and then it was confirmed yesterday. But last week, President Trump did something that very few people know about, and I am going to tell you about that coming up next on the Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Audio Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the phone number is 800-848-9222. My name is Ken Matthews. Yes, I've snuck back into the Stone Zone. Mr. Stone is off tonight. It's my pleasure to be on the Red Apple Audio Networks filling in for the legendary Roger Stone. And before I start this next segment, I just want to share a soundbite from my neck of the woods, Pennsylvania. My senator, one of my senators, I didn't vote for him, but I have to tell you, I never thought I'd say this. I never thought I'd say it in public. But there are moments I'm actually warming up to Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman. I never thought I'd say that. If you told me 10 years ago, I would scoff at you.
I'm the only Democrat in my family. I grew up in a conservative part of Pennsylvania, and I grew up and I know and I love people that voted for President Trump.
By the way, you hear that little that's not a technical issue on our end. He always wears a hoodie, and they never tell him, don't put the microphone inside the hood, because every time you move, you're going to...
But they are not fascists. They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution, those things. And that's part of another thing. I refuse to call people Nazis or fascists, or I would never compare anybody anybody to Hitler and those things. And now that kinds of extreme rhetoric is going to continue. We're going to be more likely in resulting in extreme kind of outcomes and political violence and doing all these kinds of things like Charlie Kirk. For me, all I could say is like, let people grieve. Give people the space. I'm not going to use that terrible thing and that Pasek assassination to make my argument and try to put out my views. It's like, my God, you know, he's a father that had his neck blown out by a bullet. And now people have forgotten. President Trump was in my state, was shot in the head. And if that would have, could you imagine where our nation would be if he was hit in the same way with Kirk? We really got to turn the temperature down. And we can agree to disagree on these kinds of things. But right now, shutting down the government, I just can't take it that. I'm the only.
Well, see, now, I respectfully disagree with them. If the government stays shut down is it shut down? I'm just kidding. I think it's been 16 days. And, yes, I do think that Congress should make an exception and pay the troops. I do. I think they're essential. A whole bunch of other things continue. I disagree with Fetterman on the shutdown, but I agree with him completely on turning down the temperature. And if you call people Nazis and Hitler and fascist enough, other people start to believe it. And the people that know history, if they're not completely informed, they start to think, my God, you know, how many people say we're living, you know, so-and-so's a Nazi. And if you don't know history enough, but you know enough to be angry about it, you're going to get people that are willing to do horrible things to other people based on labels. And that's why we need to protect free speech, which is a biggie. And we have to, and you know, I direct this not so much toward the clowns that live on social media. I direct it toward people in government because they use your rhetoric as an excuse. We'll be back. The Red Apple Audio Networks, The Roger Stone Show. I'm Ken Matthews. It's great to be here with you on a Friday night.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My name is Ken Matthews, sitting in for Roger tonight in the Stone Zone. Always good to be with you. The number's 800-848-9222. Red Apple Audio Networks. Great to see you on a Friday night. We were talking about Trump greenlighting CIA action against Venezuela. I'm not happy about it. And if you know the president, please let him know, because he has not returned my calls in 11 years. But he calls Roger back. Just letting you know. That's got to be cool. You have to admit, it's got to be cool. I mean, think about this. If you had one phone call to President Trump for 30 seconds, what would you? Now, I know what some of you might say, especially in the blue states. I know what you might say. You say it online. But, I mean, if you had 30 seconds, if you had his undivided attention, it's something to think about, isn't it? So if you do get through, tell him that Ken Matthews is ticked off about this Venezuela thing. And here's why. Because I think President Trump is letting his ego and his emotions get involved in this whole Maduro thing. And we don't have enough time to go through the whole history of Trump and Maduro and his first term and then what happened in the interim and what's happening now. But Donald Trump confirmed he has authorized the CIA to conduct covert operations inside Venezuela. And he said he's weighing strikes that target drug cartels on land now. Okay? Now, I was okay with the whole, you know, if you're a drug cartel, which means you're a terrorist organization and you can kill my family in some manner or form, and you're heading toward the great republic of the United States of America, even though it hasn't been a republic for a while, you're heading toward the coast, I do think you should be blown out of the water, and I would like to see it on video because some of my friends and I are really, that's cool to watch. especially when the bad guys get blown up. But this thing about we may come on land and we're sending more aircraft, and I don't like. And then, wait for it, the whole thing about the new authority that President Trump just gave to the CIA will allow it to carry out lethal operations in Venezuela and conduct a range of operations in the Caribbean. Okay, so again, this is legalese, and anybody who's familiar with the history of the CIA, and if you're in the CIA, don't tell me, because it's a secret, but the history of the CIA is legal, salad, authorize, under the direction of, cooperate with, carry out, all this blather. The CIA is an intelligence gathering organization. That's how it started. That's what Truman signed off on when it transitioned from the OSS. Okay? And it's turned into this pretty much secret team, this black op team that they do it from soup to nuts. They get you the intelligence, and then they go and they hire some guy from another country, and they hire a pilot. Then they take a plane and they wash the plane. They take a plane and they wash any sign of America off of it, and they say, okay, let's take Gary Powers for a second. We're going to have you fly over this country illegally without even telling the president. And then if the poop hits the fan, much like Tom Cruise, you will disavow any knowledge. Or we'll just disavow you. So my fear is with Venezuela, I think Trump has a bone to pick with Maduro unnecessarily, and I'll tell you why in a second. And he's just going to go in and they're going to topple the government because that's what the CIA does. How dare you? No, it does. What do you think they have that operation for? The whole Central Intelligence Agency is to gather intel and then to tell big people in charge and the bigger parts of the government, like the Oval Office, sometimes the Joint Chiefs of Staff, sometimes, and then to topple the government. So they have expertise in destabilizing governments. In fact, I would argue respectfully, and I say it with all due respect, thank goodness I'm so unknown, I'm not even on a grid yet. Few institutions have committed more illegal acts under the banner of national security than the CIA. And it worries me because Trump was one of those people that just 7-8 years ago, he was railing against the deep state, said we shouldn't be meddling abroad. I'm a non-interventionist. We shouldn't be poking our you-know-what where it doesn't belong, he says, as now we're sending troops to Israel, sending more troops to Ukraine, sending more money to Ukraine, sending CIA and Air Force assets to Venezuela. And we're flirting with getting in a war with Putin, who is, of all the people I just mentioned, Putin is not even something we should worry about at this point. But again, if you sift through the hype, I still think one of our biggest threats is communist China. And it's an economic threat. It's a military threat. But Trump is claiming the reasons for this is because, and this is what we've been fed. And who could feed us this information? What we've been fed is that somebody in Venezuela got up one day and they said, you know what we should do? We should release all the really skanky, nasty prisoners and send them right to St. Louis and Dallas and Chicago. And I don't think it happened that way, okay? Because so far, there is no hard evidence that Nicolas Maduro and his regime deliberately released prisoners or psychiatric patients. Excuse me. Some psychiatric patients are duly elected congressmen, and they're still serving us. That was just a bad psycho joke. Let that go. We know they're sociopaths. I don't know if they're psychotic yet. So we have these psychiatric patients and all this stuff, and the what is the narrative? The narrative is that, Venezuela let all these things go, let all these people go. It was a mass release. But see, there's no mass release orders. There's no official decrees. Caracas couldn't keep a secret, just like Washington, D.C. can't. Caracas, rather. Washington, D.C. can't keep a secret either. Journalists, you've got NGOs, you've got rival political factions that routinely operate in and out of the Venezuela prison system. So if something like this happened intentionally, if it was an evil plot, I think we would know about it, other than just having politicians attach it to their excuses. So my belief, again, this is only my opinion, and everybody has one. You know what opinions are like, right? Like congressmen. Any large-scale release would have been impossible to conceal. So, and then Trump talks about drugs. Okay, I get it. You just tell Maduro, get a grip on your cartels, whether you're involved or not, get a grip on it, because we're going to keep blowing them out of the water. And if they break our airspace, we'll blow them out of the sky if we know for sure. That's all you have to do. We have the most powerful military in the world, and we don't need to blow stuff up with it all the time. We have it. Recruitment is up. We have Pete Hegseth, who every time I see him, he looks like he wants a war. Now, I'm not saying he does, but he looks like it. That's how you want people to look. Like he said, no more beardos. He's tired of fatties. That's a guy who wants to exercise and flex the war muscles, which is great. But why would you do it to a country like Venezuela, who last week offered Donald Trump and the Trump administration a deal? Did you know that? Maduro is probably shaking in his boots right now because Trump said, and these guys know Trump is serious, but Trump can also be petty sometimes, and it bothers me. See, over the years, Maduro, and yeah, he's a communist and all this stuff. We get it. But we negotiate and we talk to some of the scummiest, scariest people around the world. Our leaders are in the same room with them. I think the only reason Trump has it out for Maduro and wants to replace his government is because Maduro is just trash Trump all the time. You know, the way that Trump would trash other leaders, Maduro did it. And anyway, last week, Maduro, hat in hand, came to the Trump administration. Go look this up. This happened. And I don't even think people in the administration allowed it to get to Trump, but they claim they did. But Maduro basically said, now, I didn't see the agreement because, as I said, President Trump has not returned my calls in 11 years. But in the agreement, it basically said, Maduro said to Trump, if you do not remove this administration, we will be more aggressive with the drug, stopping the drugs. But more importantly, Mr. President of America, because we're in your hemisphere and Venezuela is a big deal and we're a big energy producer, we will give you a cut of all our gold, all our minerals, and all our oil, and we will withdraw from China and Russia. This is how badly Maduro wants to stay in power in Venezuela. Now, isn't it great? You just had to blow up 5 or 6 boats, and he's calling you saying, okay, look, here, take this. You can set up mines here. He even said in the agreement, he said, Americans can enter our country and partner with our companies that are extracting minerals, and then we can set up a situation where you're getting minerals. And so it's an amazing deal when you think about it. Now, I'm not saying Maduro is a great person or he's an amazing person, but that isn't the reality of it. The reality is all over the world, there's people in charge of countries that would kill you for a sandwich. And if you can contain them and neutralize their ability to hurt America because we're America and America's first, not to be selfish, but if we can muscle in without having to kill anybody and get a guy to say, all right, I'll stop doing that stuff with China and Russia. Because China and Russia, they've had their eyes on South America and all over the world. But Venezuela is big because it's a straight shot to America. And for enemy reasons, for threat reasons. But it's also a straight shot to America, either by by air or sea, to benefit our country. And in the process, Maduro would probably end up making things better for his people because, let's face it, things are kind of sucky there now, right? But this is something that no one covered. And I'm so disappointed that nobody covered it. And this is what bothers me because I look at Trump's behavior in the Middle East, his behavior in Ukraine. Remember, he was going to take care of that in one day. Now, I'm not that foolish to think he can take care of it in one day. But I don't like the direction it's going now. I don't like the fact that President Donald Trump signed off on hitting valuable targets deep in Russia. What are you trying to do, Mr. President? Russia is a nuclear power. China is a nuclear power. Venezuela, you should have just taken that deal. And it wasn't a deal that hurt us. The whole deal benefited the United States because Maduro, who also has an ego, he doesn't want to get run out. But apparently, President Trump likes the person running against Maduro. So that's the update that you haven't heard. So maybe you could call your congressman or senator and ask about it. And we'll be right back in the Stone Zone. The number's 800-848-9222. This is the Red Apple Audio Networks. I'm Ken Matthews.
The Stone Zone. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My name's Ken Matthews, in for Roger tonight in the Stone Zone, 800-848-9222 on the Red Apple Audio Networks. And we were just talking about Venezuela, and I'm disappointed that President Trump didn't make more of an effort to kind of ignore the ramblings of Maduro and just basically say and take that offer that was made last week to the president to take resources and everything else. He could have. We wouldn't even have to go in and take stuff in our own hemisphere. He's willing to give it. He's willing to say, okay. I mean, that's how you kill two birds with one stone. To me, that's what diplomacy is. I don't think diplomacy is ever, hey, you give me your stuff or I'm going to blow your head off. I don't think that's diplomacy. I think diplomacy is we could work together and we can make it very comfortable for you and us, and we don't have to fight, and it'll be better for your people, it'll be better for our people, or you can keep going in this direction and things will keep blowing up, but why would you want to do that? So let's grab a call here before we wrap up the show. Gail in Pennsylvania. Gail, you're in the Stone Zone. Welcome.
Hi. Good
How
evening.
You doing? Hello.
I'm great. I'm doing great. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I actually am glad to see that we've been blasting the narco-terrorist Venezuelan state ships. And
Agreed.
If we go inside, I also am fine. They're depopulating. They're criminals, insane. A lot of their population, the welfare types, to us. But let me just say this. President Trump, the deal maker, may still carry on with the negotiation. But I don't care if he blasts them.
Well, I'm glad you feel like that, Gail. Obviously, you're not calling from Venezuela.
No, but he's depopulated a lot of his country already. You know,
Well,
and he has cartels running him, and they actually support our Democrat socialist candidates.
Well, this is part of the negotiation. This is what you do. That's how you do. You go in and you say, here's how it's going to be. If you want to keep running this country, Maduro, then you will. And Maduro made the first overtures with that. But the fact that, I guess what bothered me most, Gail, is that no one really covered it because everybody's afraid to question or challenge or go against the current philosophy or policies of the administration. But I think that I don't even think we should be messing with Venezuela and risking any type of military interaction with them because we've got so much on our plate. We've already proven if you get near our shoreline with drugs, you're dead. And Trump delivered. And that sent a message to the whole world. I think every drug dealer that wants to get near our shores is now thinking, I'm going to be on a laser scope in a minute. So that's great. So now he has an opportunity to maybe get Maduro to be less of a dictator. What do you think?
He really, wants to continue with the negotiation. I wouldn't be surprised. However, I'm just saying I'm fine with blasting him. And I don't think it's starting a military.
When you say blasting him, are you saying you're fine with Trump assassinating Maduro?
Not necessarily assassinating him, but going to any of the distribution spots, et cetera, for the cartels that actually run Maduro, I'm fine with.
Right. You do have to prove that, though.
And I don't think it would cause any long-term military excursion because they're, as you acknowledge, they're like a nothing.
Well, I don't know if they're like a nothing, but they certainly are in a position now where they're vulnerable, and we're in a position of strength. I mean, we have not been in a position of strength like this in a long time, and I just don't want to abuse it. But, Gail, I'm so glad you called. I appreciate your input. Thanks for calling the Roger Stone Show. Thank you for listening, folks. Have a wonderful Friday night, a great weekend. This is always so much fun. My name's Ken Matthews. I'm all over the internet. Nothing illegal. You can follow me on X and Twitter and Facebook and check me out at kenmatthewsmedia.com. Have a great weekend. God bless you.
Thanks for listening to The Stone Zone with Roger Stone. You can hear The Stone Zone with Roger Stone weeknights at 8 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.